The internet is a scary place, full of strangers, hackers, and worst of all, influencers. Today I'll be recommending 6 internet and influencer-based horror movies. These are all found footage horror movies. My first recommendation follows some online con artists with the film The Cleansing Hour. 2 online entrepreneurs make a living from their web show where they live stream fake exorcisms, claiming to their audience that they know what they're doing, they're professionals and this is real. Their show is really popular and they do have quite a big fan base. They definitely have let this go to their head because they seem quite arrogant and very full of themselves. They just don't care at all that they are basically scamming people. Everything always seems to go to plan until one day on one of their live streams, one of their girlfriends actually becomes possessed and they need to perform an exorcism, this time for real. Obviously they don't actually know what they're doing, but they need to make it out to their audience that nothing is different and just try to go along with it because God forbid anybody found out or their viewers went down, because that's all they seem to care about even in this extremely dangerous situation. They don't want people to think they're phonies. I was surprised by the amount of gore in this one. Although there isn't tons, I do usually find that in exorcism films and possession films, they usually have minimal or no gore. It's definitely cheesy at times. I'm thinking it may fall into the category of so bad that it's good, although I do think it may be slightly better than that, but just go into it knowing it's kind of in that category. I really enjoyed the beginning of this film. We get straight into learning about these con artists, which I personally found really interesting. I would say unfortunately the beginning is the strongest, and for me it did kind of go down a bit from there. It definitely picks back up again at the end, and overall I did find it entertaining, especially with a shorter runtime. I think maybe the pacing issue could be down to it mostly being set in one location, which is an element that I do really enjoy in horror, but if there isn't things that are constantly happening, then it can get a little bit samey. You can stream The Cleansing Hour on Shudder. Next up is my favourite on the list with Milk and Cereal. A group of internet prankster friends film themselves pulling extravagant pranks on each other for their YouTube channel. They are always trying to one-up each other and do something more crazy and outlandish than the last prank. They want to pull the craziest stunt that would just get them tons of views. Their channel is getting more and more popular and they're doing really well for themselves until one day a prank goes wrong and their lives will never be the same again. This is the shortest film on the list at only an hour long, and you can actually watch it here on YouTube. It's a really small production from the director Curry Barker, who you may know now from the film that is in cinemas, Obsession. This was one of the few films that really showcased Curry's talent and just gave him his big break into directing. The main character that we follow is called Milk, which is a very strange name, but Curry has said that he likes to give his characters memorable names, which is why we have Bear in Obsession. And honestly, I do have to agree that I do remember these characters' names even from the first time I've watched the films, compared to when I normally watch a film and they just have like an everyday name. I'm usually absolutely terrible with names. Milk and Cereal is paced really well, with a high impact opening scene, just setting the scene for the events to follow. From that first scene, it is just an inevitable spiral that goes completely out of control. The acting is actually really impressive, especially for a smaller budget. I would love to see this be re-released in the future and to just be able to watch it on the big screen at the cinema. You can, of course, watch this one on YouTube. Next up is one that I did put off for a while, and that's just because the title sounds really cheesy, but it goes to show why you shouldn't judge a film by its title, and that's the film #ChadGetsTheAxe. A group of influencers take a trip to an abandoned home that was once home to a satanic cult. Being chronically online and oversharing everything, they all individually livestream this trip to their followers. Being a really creepy location that seems quite dangerous, they are raking up the views, which is their goal. That is their absolute dream. So even when terrifying events start happening around them, they still don't put down their phones. Although this is kind of a silly surface level horror film, it does kind of have a deeper meaning. It kind of shows how attached we are to our phones, that even in these really dangerous and scary situations, that so many of us would still have our phone in our hand. As you can probably tell, the characters are some very annoying influencers that get themselves in some terrifying situations, and that is really where the comical elements come in. Seeing how stupid they're acting, making all the wrong decisions. It's the kind of funny that is just so stupid. The characters are over the top, exaggerated versions of influencers, which definitely do actually exist. Although we're not really rooting for them, they're still really interesting to watch. Like I said, I did prejudge this one. My expectations were really low going in, but when I read the description, it sounded like something that I would really enjoy. I love these internet-based found footage films, anything where people are recording themselves, especially if they're live streaming or doing it for a YouTube video. I absolutely love that. So after reading it, I knew I had to check it out, and I'm really glad that I did. It's definitely not a serious watch, but something that you can just have fun with. It's yet another short one at only 83 minutes long, and you can find this one completely for free on Tubi. My next recommendation reminds me of Evil Dead 2 with how wacky and wild it is, and that's the film Deadstream. A cancelled live streamer tries his hardest to win his audience back by live streaming himself staying overnight in an abandoned haunted house. He thinks that this is just going to be a breeze because he's quite skeptical and thinks that this is basically all for show, but his skepticism soon turns into actual fear when he gets targeted by some angry and very terrifying spirits. So this is a horror comedy, very much like how Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness are horror comedies, with the over-the-top slapstick style wackiness, the one-liners and situations that our main character gets himself in that are just so stressful but so hilarious at the same time. Although this is heavy on the laughs, it's equally as absolutely terrifying, some really good jump scares, and some incredible practical effects that just really level up this film. The creature design is disgusting but very impressive. You can really tell how much work has gone into creating these weird undead beings. This one is just so much fun. I think it is a great one to put on with friends, or if you just want something a bit more lighthearted, you want to watch a horror film but you also don't want to watch anything too deep. It's very silly, very over the top, and the comedy comes in a really bonkers way. You can stream Deadstream on Shudder. Next, we've got another Tubi film that I judged on the title with #MissingCouple. We follow a couple who vlog their everyday life. They are used to vlogging themselves traveling because they're all about the van life, but they decided to make some changes and swap van life for a permanent home. So they're now vlogging themselves, redoing their home, and just starting their new journey. This is just one that I randomly stumbled upon on Tubi. I hadn't heard anyone talking about it, but I decided to give it a go, especially with that influencer element that I find really interesting. On first glance, you kind of expect this to be a straightforward film. Even the first few scenes that I was watching, I thought I could guess where it was going, but I definitely could not. The fact that it goes to some unexpected places definitely raised my score a little bit. We have some elements of mystery, which I found really engaging. I do always really enjoy when we have kind of an event or something changes midway through a film, like #ChadGetsTheAxe. I did judge this one on the title. I did actually watch this one before I watched that one, and because I love this one with a cheesy title, it kind of is what influenced me to watch that other one, and I would definitely say it's a surprising hidden gem. You can watch this one on Tubi. My last recommendation is a very fun, very fast-paced one with the film Spree. Kurt is absolutely desperate to become a social media influencer, so much so that he will go to very extreme measures to make this happen. His main goal is to get loads of views on his live streams, so he devises a plan to set up cameras all around his car, which he uses basically as an Uber for work. In this film, the service, instead of being called an Uber, it's called Spree, so he's a spree driver. With his cameras all set up, he starts to live stream his shifts, and the customers that he picks up, getting them into some rather crazy situations. There really is no end to this obsession with getting views. With the cameras all set up, we get some really interesting angles, which I really like. I do really enjoy when a found footage film sets up cameras like in either hidden locations or just in different locations from what we would normally see if it was just someone filming or filming themselves. Joe Keery plays the main character of Kurt, and it is one of the first roles that I think I've seen him in besides Stranger Things. I saw Spree at the cinema and he is absolutely excellent. He is so good at playing this over-the-top, obsessed character. This is another one with comical elements, but the comedy just really comes in with the script and how the character of Kurt is written. It's a very fast-paced film with so much happening all the time. Kurt is so high energy, so the scenes with him are very engaging and just kind of almost shocking to watch. You can stream Spree on Prime Video. So that's the end of this video today. There are all of my recommendations for found footage films that involve influencers and the internet. Let me know what you would add to this list. I do have tons more recommendations in this category, which you'll probably be able to find in my previous found footage recommendation videos. Also, if there are any video ideas that you want me to do, then please let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions and always wanting to try out new videos. As always, thank you so much for hanging out today and supporting my channel. I'll see you again very soon.